In today's episode, we'll hear from former British official John Ross as he unpacks how American-style containment is holding back global production, explore how Chongqing's wartime air raid shelters had been transformed into vibrant new urban spaces. And finally, we'll review the top stories about Chongqing in global media this week. Over the past 40 years, China's economic rise has amazed economists around the globe. Former Director of Economic and Business Policy for the Mayor of London, John Ross, calls China the most successful case of economic development in the world history.
Against this backdrop, Ross delves into how American-style containment strategies are deeply affecting global production and growth in our exclusive interview.
Let's listen to John Ross' insight and hear his outlook on the future of the global economy.
For over 4 decades, economists around the world have asked, why was China the only country to achieve a super transformation, lifting 800 million people out of poverty and increasing per capita income 25-fold? According to John Ross, former Director of Economy and Business Policy for the Mayor of London, this was no coincidence. He sees it as the inevitable outcome of institutional strength, where national strategy and market vitality resonate together, turning the efforts of 1.4 billion people into a driving force that have reshaped the global economic landscape.
China is the biggest economic success in the history of the world. And I'm not saying that to be polite. I'm saying it because it's an objective fact. Never have you had economic growth which improved the lives of so many people so fast. Let's just take a few facts. In 1949, China was almost the poorest country in the world. World Bank's standard for high-income economies is about $14,000. China's on about $13,000 a year, so it's 2 years' time or something like that. But that means in just over 70 years, that is in a single lifetime, China can have gone from being almost the poorest country in the world to being a high-income economy. For 1.4 billion people, there has never been anything like that in the entire history of the world. In the last 500 years, there's only been 3 economic systems in the world. One was capitalism. That wasn't invented by anybody, but it was first analysed by Adam Smith and Karl Marx, right? The second one was the industrialisation of the Soviet Union in 1929, as introduced by Stalin. That is a totally planned economy. That wasn't planned, done by somebody. And the third one is the Chinese socialist market economy, and this has proved itself to be the most successful economic theory, economic development in the whole history of the world. It's an incredible intellectual achievement. As I say, there are only 3 such histories in the last 500 years, and China's got the most successful one.
Yet behind China's economic success lies the seed of rising tension. As China's GDP edges closer to that of the United States, Washington have launched its largest campaign of strategic competition since the Cold War. U.S. containment efforts have escalated sharply over the past 5 years. While countries around the world strive to revive their economies, this American-style containment has become an unexpected drag on global development.
The biggest obstacle to the development of international production is the United States. Why? Because the United States has a growth rate of about 2%, and it's been growing at the last 2% for the last 20, 30 years. And it doesn't want any other economy to grow faster than that. If the United States competes by speeding up its own economy, that's good for America, and incidentally it will have good effects in the rest of the world. No, but the United States is trying to compete by preventing other people from growing faster. And that is damaging. Why should another country slow down to the pace of the United States? Because the United States wants to stay the most powerful country in the world, and therefore it's the biggest obstacle to the international development of production.
Yumi, when you think of Chongqing, what iconic images come to your mind?
Well, definitely Chongqing Tower, Lisboa, and there are plenty more.
Well, exactly. But today, we're focusing on a different kind of urban memory. The city's air raid shelters, once wartime sanctuaries, they've been reborn as a farm-to-table shops, hot pot restaurants, and cultural bookstores. These spaces show how Chongqing's resilience has turned survival into thriving. Let's go take a look at their transformation.
On an early Saturday morning at Hongtudi station of Chongqing Rail Transit Line 6, vegetable farmers from Sichuan town arrived by taking CRT Line 4, known as the Pack Basket Line. Last summer, an old air raid shelter shed its historical armour and became a marketplace for these farmers, sparing them from having to sell produce on the streets. Once a wartime refuge, it is now the first stop in supporting local farmers.
I used to sell at Sichuan, Chongqing, and Yuzhou. Now I come here to sell that I bring the goods from home. It takes about 2 hours. I usually take the train at 6:30 and arrive around 8:30. By 9:30, I'm almost sold out that it's mainly convenient, that it's cool here in summer. In winter, it's warm, that we don't pay for transportation. Seniors over 65 ride subways and buses for free. Even the stalls here are free. Everything is free. Since May 2024, we worked with Sichuan Town for over 20 days that we transformed an idle air raid shelter into a cozy space for buying and selling agricultural products. It's nearly 50 years old that we finished all safety renovations. This shelter is managed by Chongqing Didao Commercial Management Company, Ltd. We're developing an underground city tourism project. It includes 18 air raid shelters. Now, some are open to the public. Number 1 is this support space. Number 2 is the underground city tea house. And number 4 is the underground city hot pot. These are the first phase of the project. More are coming, like bookstores and cafes. There will also be a military museum. Each shelter will offer something unique.
Amid the bustling market, we touch the memories buried deep within the stone walls. Once a sanctuary from air raids, today, this air raid shelter supports livelihoods, cradling baskets of fresh produce. It holds the warmth of the changing seasons while preserving the echoes of the past 8 decades. The echoes of history still linger, yet the air raid shelters have taken on new roles. Walking through their passageways, the battle scars on the walls are gradually transforming into strokes of color.
I noticed most air raid shelters don't focus on art. Since I come from an art background, this was the inspiration behind building this space. For artists, there's plenty of room for creativity. Our space focuses on artistic experiences.
As paint dries on the rocky walls of one shelter, the scent of ink quietly spreads in another. From an artistic cave to a repository of stories, every corner of these shelters speaks to a truth. The spirit of Chongqing is a fortress with endless ways to be reimagined.
I've collected books for decades. I wanted a space for them. Air raid shelters are unique to Chongqing. My books are also about Chongqing. So combining the two seemed meaningful. There are about 15,000 to 16,000 books here. Mainly come from me visiting bookstores, searching, and buying them one by one. Now with this place, more people donate books. This bookstore has become a shared space, not just mine alone. With this store, my goal is clearer, to focus more on books about Chongqing, so that visitors can learn about Chongqing here.
From wartime lifelines to vegetable markets, bookstores, and hot pot restaurants, Chongqing's air raid shelters have always answered one question: how can the spirit of endurance be transformed into the wisdom of living well? When visitors write postcards at Zhonga bookstore and farmers count their earnings on the way home, these underground corridors respond in a way only Chongqing can, by proving what it truly means to persevere.
To wrap up, let's take a look at the trending Chongqing stories catching global media attention this week.
This week, Chongqing's latest achievements in cultural tourism and transportation infrastructure have captured the world's spotlight. international media outlets, including Lotus News, Vari News Agency, TC Television, and Telegraph Moldova, extensively covered the charming Chongqing drone light show, which set a new Guinness World Record. Meanwhile, China's leading official media, such as Xinhua News and People's Daily, highlighted Chongqing's innovative tourism initiative, the nation's first panda-themed straddle-type monorail train. Additionally, as the China-Europe Railway Express surpassed the milestone of 110,000 cumulative trips, Xinhua, People's Daily, and China Daily provided in-depth coverage, underscoring Chongqing's pivotal role as a key hub connecting the new international land-sea trade corridor and the China-Europe freight network.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks to Piumi for being with us. And thank you all for watching.
Thanks, Alex, and thank you all for your support.
Let's meet, showcasing new Chongqing to the world. I'm your host, Alex. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
And I'm Piumi. Bye-bye.